I have a confession to make. I don't know who this woman is.
Cut the cameras.
Today, I am unhauling over 30 books. This is the biggest unhaul I have done in the more than 5 years that I have been on bookstagram, booktok, receiving free books. This is a combination of books that I have received, either unsolicited from publishers or ones that I have read and didn't like. There are also books that I got for grad school or for even undergrad that I read and don't see myself rereading, don't see myself reaching for, don't include in any videos, and really don't care about as much anymore. And some books that I just think would be better off in another home. I have recently come to the conclusion that I actually don't enjoy memoirs. They're not a genre that I find myself actively reaching for. It is very, very rare for me to pick up a memoir. The last memoir I remember reading and giving 5 stars was the Jeanette McCurdy several years ago. I've also read the ones by the Duggar family, and those are the only ones I actively searched out. And so here are some memoirs that I was sent by the publisher and haven't ever read. House of Sticks by Lai Tran. It sounded great when the publisher reached out, and I did want to read it at the time, but it's been years and it's just been collecting dust on my shelf. It's time to let go. Tasha, A Son's Memoir by Brian Morton. I don't remember requesting this. I think this was an unsolicited one where the publisher just sent it to me, maybe along with other books, maybe not. I don't remember, but I've never once reached for it aside from moving it from one shelf to another. This one is really disappointing because I actually really like Phoebe Robinson, and I did want to read Please Don't Sit on My Bed in Your Outside Clothes. But I think I started the first one and I was just not interested. I do read essay collections every now and again, but I usually listen to them as audiobooks. And nonfiction overall is not really something I like to have on my shelf. I don't tend to read nonfiction physically at all. I don't tend to annotate nonfiction. It just doesn't feel like something I need. Educated by Tara Westover, I actually bought at a thrift store. I've been hearing amazing things about it for years, and in all of those years, I have never once read it, and it's time to let it go. Moving Forward by Corinne Jean-Pierre. I saw this in a little free library and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love that, especially considering the fact that she's Haitian. Corinne Jean-Pierre is not someone I'm super interested in learning more about anymore. Swimming Back to Trout River by Linda Ru Fang. When the publisher had reached out to me about this one, I was interested at the time. It sounded really interesting, but I haven't reached for it in the, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years that I've owned it. And I think it would be better suited to somebody who will actually read it. Oop, I made a mistake. Turns out Swimming Back to Trout River is a novel, not a memoir. I don't know how I did that.
What?
I still have not reached for it in all these years, to be honest. I think it's still going to be an unhaul. I have a few books from school throughout the school journey that I just don't need anymore. Anthem by Ayn Rand, I read in high school and got from my high school English teacher. I'm not going to reread this book, especially now that I'm older and I know a little bit more about Ayn Rand's political stances. I'm not super interested in owning it, and I don't care anymore. Software by Rudy Bucker. I got this for a science fiction class in grad school. I think it was an AI in film and literature class. I skimmed it. I did not like it. It's very early sci-fi, very, I think it's cyberpunk, if I'm not mistaken, which is not a genre that I tend to gravitate towards in my free time. And I would have never picked this up if it weren't for a class. So not interested in keeping it on my shelves. Shipbreaker by Paolo Bacigalupi, I think is how you say it. I read this for a sci-fi class in undergrad. I enjoyed it at the time. It's just not a book that I ever see myself reaching for. I don't plan on ever rereading it. And I just don't need it taking up more space. The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Cowell. I got this for that same science fiction class, but then we never ended up reading it. And I've had it on my shelf for years. I've been saying I was going to read it for years, but then I don't. And so I'm just gonna unhaul it. I've heard great things. If I do ever actually want to end up reading it, I'll just get it from the library. And this MLA style guide, I've been teaching MLA for years to students of various ages, and including college. I don't need an MLA style guide. I can just use the internet. Also, I have How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. I got this for a rhetoric class in grad school and I was using it for a paper. I'm pretty sure I bought it on Thrift Books because I was like, oh my gosh, I annotated this. And then I flipped through the annotations and that is not my handwriting. I don't need to own it. I've been doing anti-racist work for several years now. I had a pretty solid understanding of anti-racism before reading this book. It did help gather in a few more definitions, but I prefer the works of Angela Davis, Bell Hooks, Audre Lorde, a bit more intersectionality. Though Ibram X. Kendi does bring up intersectionality in this book, I'm not going to reread it. I don't need to own it. Let's get into some books that I've bought and we'll be unhauling. Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith. I read it. I enjoyed it well enough. And then I read the second book and I just did not want to continue the series. I see no real reason to keep it on my shelf. I'm going to see if my cousin wants it because she does like the series a lot and I think she's only read it as webtoons. And if not, it's going to go to a thrift store or a little free library or a secret third option that we'll hear at the end of this video. The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner I got while I was working at a bookstore a few years ago, and then I started seeing really bad reviews for it, and then I started losing interest. The rest of these are books I've gotten at thrift stores. The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. I went back and forth on whether I would unhaul this because it was a very pivotal read for me. I watched the movie when I was pretty young, and then I read the book for the first time, I believe, as a teenager, and then I think I reread it as an early adult around maybe 18, 19 years old, and I loved it, but the older I get, the more weird certain elements of the storyline get to me, and also, I don't think I will reread it again. It was important to me when I was younger. I did enjoy it as a love story when I was younger, but now I'm like, some of the implications here, I don't like. I don't like that at all. Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. I got this copy at a thrift store. I did enjoy it and I loved it at the time, but the older I get, the more I'm not really interested in owning it anymore. It's not a book I reach for when I'm doing various videos. It's not a book that I really think about anymore after, what has it been, like 5 years since I've read it? And it's not a book that I'm going to reread. Okay, let's back it up, back it up, back it up.
Hi, how are you? Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up.
The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I got this at a thrift store years and years and years ago, and I have never once read it. Back to the thrift store you go. Here are some books I've read and think just deserve a new home. This Young Zoologist series, I have the Axolotl and the Capybara one. I'm an educator. I do work with students, with children, but I don't work with young children, and so I think these would be better suited to somebody who has kids or somebody who has a classroom with young children who will enjoy these. They're great and it's a really nice series. And I was sent this by Macmillan Kids. They actually have actual zoologists writing these and they're really good and really informative. But again, not something I need in my personal home library. Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I got this from my library summer reading program and I read it. It was okay. Simple as that. I have been meaning to continue the series because I have heard good things about book 3, I think, but I'm not running to do it. Kia Das's Second Act by Sopandeb. I did enjoy it. As you can see, I annotated it. Really, I annotated it because I was reading it for a class where we had to do a book review of a book in grad school, and I decided to use this one. It was sent to me by the publisher. It's a really good book, but again, it's not one that I see myself ever actively reaching for. I don't really include it in any videos. I've been meaning to at least include it in a queer list at some point. Haven't done that recently. I probably should. All this to say, it will probably be better served with someone who feels more close to the storyline and would get a little bit more and maybe would enjoy seeing some of these annotations. Re-recording this because my mic was not connected. Here are all the duplicates I have, so I'm giving them up because I already have another copy. Salt and Sugar by Rebecca Carvalho is a Brazilian enemies to lovers, really more like Romeo and Juliet YA romance. The publisher sent me both the advanced reader copy and a finished copy, so I Don't Need Both. On Beauty by Zadie Smith. I actually read On Beauty for a college class in undergrad, and then recently I got sent a book box from Always Black that included a copy, and I don't need to have 2 copies. The Queen's Spade by Sarah Raleigh. In Shelves in the City, LA, this was one of the books that was there for book shopping. I put it in my box. I was super excited. And then when I got home, it turned out that I had book mail that included The Queen's Spade, and I don't need 2 copies of The Queen's Spade. Have you been one of those people who would enter Goodreads giveaways and then you were like, who actually ever wins them? Well, I won. The Almond Tree by Michelle Cohen Corasanti. I'm simply not interested in reading. I tried to read it when I first won it in the Goodreads giveaway. I made it like 93 pages in, and it was a DNF. Sawara by Matt Faraz. I don't know if this was a Goodreads giveaway or if this was an author who sent this to me early on when I was accepting whatever books were offered to me. I was not into it. The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Delilah Harris. Somebody sent this to me back in like 2020 when people were like, well, why are all these white creators getting these books by black authors and then the black creators aren't getting any books? Hey, let me send them your way, right? And it was a really kind gesture, and so somebody had sent this to me, but then I saw all the bad reviews for it and it made me not want to read the book anymore. And this is just a publisher sent me this book because I'm on so many publisher lists. My Mother Cursed My Name by Anamali Salgado Reyes. I read this book and I was incredibly disappointed. It had so much potential, but it did not live up to it. I do think that the writer is a good writer. I think Anameli Salgado Reyes has a lot of potential for growth, but I did not like this book. I did not like how it was carried out. I think there were so many ways that it could have been improved. And if you want to know more, I have like a whole rant review on my Instagram about it. Now for some unsolicited books. These are books that were sent to me by the publisher unasked. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. I've heard great things about Laura Dave. I hear that she's a really good thriller writer. I just never picked this up. I'm just not interested, if I'm going to be honest. I do tend to like Reese Witherspoon's book club picks, but I don't really read thriller that often unless it's Tiffany D. Jackson or like another specific author who I love. I don't go out of my way to read thriller. The Fury by Alex Michaelidis. I don't know how to say that. It just showed up on my doorstep. I think they sent it to everybody on the list. I honestly never reached out to them about this book, and I don't even know what the premise is. The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller. Actually, I've been sent so many Trisha Levenseller books when I tell you I don't know who this woman is. Why do I keep getting sent her books? Who is this? Fable and Friends, please stop. I'm begging you. I'm begging you to stop sending me Trisha Levenseller books. Do you think I'm joking? I don't know who this lady is, and I don't ever reach for her books. I almost kept this one because of the pretty sprayed edges, but I'm not interested. I don't read that much fantasy. I love fantasy, but I'm only really reading fantasy by authors of color. This Dazzle like Dolly book, it's an activity book. It came in a box of like other books. It's very cute, but I don't need it. My head has a belly ache. I was sent this book unsolicited by the publisher, and then for weeks afterward, they kept sending me emails asking when I was going to review it, even though I never asked for this book to begin with. It was really, really, really weird. I have 2 more unsolicited ones. This Will Be Fun by E.B. Asher was sent to me in one of the many HarperCollins boxes I get. It is a cozy fantasy and I think romantasy also. It's like a adventure, friendship. I'm not interested. I read the premise and it's not really the kind of book I gravitate towards. I read cozy fantasy sometimes, but even then I'm more into cozy sci-fi than cozy fantasy. I like my fantasy full of political intrigue, so it's just not something I think I will be interested in. The Connellys of County Down by Tracy Lang. I literally don't know anything about this book. It showed up on my doorstep and I don't think I'll ever read it. When Tara Connolly is released from prison after serving, no. This last one is a little embarrassing because I didn't realize it was part of a series and I also didn't realize how chonky it was going to be. The Winners by Frederick Bachman. I love A Man Called Ove, and I have been meaning to read more of Frederick Bachman's work. And so when they offered me The Winners, I was like, yeah, of course. Only to find out that this is the third book in a series, and it is over 600 pages long. Baby, she's not going to be read. I'm sorry to say it. She's not going to be read by me. So those are the 30 plus books that I will be unhauling from my personal library. If you want a chance to win any of these books, a specific book that you saw that you are interested in, sign up for my Bindery. Confetti, confetti, confetti. Yes, I am officially on Bindery. And if you end up on the free tier, there will be 5 opportunities to win. And if you end up on the paid tier, there will be unlimited opportunities to win a free book. Thank you for joining today's episode of Read It or Unhaul It. As you can see, there was no reading done today, but there was a lot of unhauling. Well, actually, forehead kiss. And have a great rest of your day or night or dishwashing or laundry doing, whatever you do when you listen to me. Much love, happy reading, and read diversely. Go do that for me. Thanks, babes. Have you clicked on another video yet? Please go click on another video. That's a lot of books. I'm a little overwhelmed. Just a little bit. Just a teensy weensy bit. Just a tiny, tiny bit overwhelmed by all of these books. They're gonna fall, they're gonna fall, they're gonna fall. Oh! They didn't fall. Yeah, I did. They did fall.